Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Ever Sidequesters podcast and live stream of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition game here. We're doing the 2nd Edition system, and this time we are going with the Abominations Vault. And with that, we've gone through, as you've been seeing through the couple weeks here, that we were winding up the beginner's box and then going into more of a... getting characters ready. Some of the characters have gone and left. Some characters have joined. So we have a little bit of, one regular face, and we will have 3 new faces for today's game as the story begins again. And with that, how is everyone doing tonight? Especially my crew here with new players. Are you guys excited to try out the new character classes that you've created?
Absolutely. Look forward to this.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this as well. We got Dad of War 76 in here. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Thanks for joining us for this live stream tonight. And we also have Candy Holic in here. As always, thanks for being here. We might have a couple other people. We are a few minutes early, but we wanted to get this show rolling here and jump into this. So with that, let's get into it. As we can see here, setting the scene. We have Otari. As we've been here for the last few days in game time, time has passed since the events of the beginner's box, with the Ever Sidequesters vanquishing the rising Kobold threat that was growing underneath the city and taking care of a little problem that could have become bigger. And if anyone is curious about that, go check out the beginner's box and the playthrough. It is not only fun, but also really amusing with how bad we were messing things up. If we haven't noticed or mentioned before, poor Krunk was half the druid he was supposed to be, and we also almost missed a whole bunch of things for Mike's new character, Xylo Bones, the skeleton bard. Probably pun very much intended. We were going through his character, missed a few of his skills. Thankfully, we got those back. And then we also missed his... what was it here? Let me take a look. He has special spells he gets. They are performances. Yes, special performances for a bard. And we almost missed those for his focus pool. So he also has Inspire Courage, which is pretty much like your typical bard thing from 5th edition to give people bardic inspiration, although this one will instead give +1 status bonuses to attack rolls, damage rolls, and saving throws against fear. So that's one person, and it lasts for 1 round, but he can do it every round, which is quite nice. It's an unlimited cantrip, so he's definitely got something to do with that 3rd action, if not more than that. Plus he also has Counter Performance, which is his focus spell he can do once every 10 minutes. And this will allow him to, let's see here, protect his allies, roll a performance check, and then know the type of audio. For the type of audio or type of performance he needs to do, either an auditory performance or a visual one, and then you and allies in the area can use better results between the performance check or the saving throw. So it's almost like the Divination Wizard from 5th edition, where once every 10 minutes, he can make a performance and then either use that roll or the saving throw roll in clutch situations. Pretty interesting counter-performance spell. We'll see how Xylo uses that in the days to come and weeks as we play through this, a little bit at a time here. So, with that, we set the stage here in Otari. It's a bit of a dreary day here in Otari. The clouds have rolled in, the temperature's a little on the colder side. We can hear the rain dripping and hitting off the roofs of the buildings and establishments here. And, it's just a cold, cold day. And we zoom in from the scene we see here of kind of off the port side with the cathedral off on the coast, up on the upper ledges, the cemetery for Otari, and then the town itself here, as seen in this screenshot of some of the many, many buildings. The camera pans and kind of flies over the top of the settlements here and towards the back. And with that, I'm just going to go to the map here so I can show people who are watching at the moment where we are moving to. And the camera will pan over the Rowdy Rockfish, past the Crow's Cask, which the Ever Sidequesters, at least Krunk knows of, past Blades of Glades, and we eventually come over top of Rin's Wonders, where Rin's Wonders is an interesting place with a very open concept for a building and canopies that help protect from the rain. And at this point in time, Rin herself has the roof drawn and closed to protect herself from the rain that's coming in and the occasional strike of lightning and thunder that rolls through. And the camera will then pan down and zoom in on this half tiefling, half elf. And I'm just going to pull up her picture real quick, just so people can get an idea of what's going on here, of who we are looking at. So my players can also see Rin as well. And Rin is an interesting sort of character. She is a bit of an astrologer and a tarot reader of sorts, does a lot of occult-based things here. And we see her under her canopied tent in the amongst all these other walls and whatnot that just open up to every which way. And she seems to be pondering over, well, right now she has a scroll of the constellations in her hands, and she's looking up inside the tented area of her home here, looking at where the constellations are painted in the roof of her home and building and business, and just kind of pondering. And then she starts to shuffle some tarot cards that she has. And as she's shuffling, she's quietly thinking to herself, maybe asking a question to the universe or the whatever gods Rin may follow here. And eventually, a particular tarot card pops up to her. She pulls the card out, and as she flips it over, the tarot card resembles that of a young page. In this instance, it would probably be considered or similar to the Page of Wands in a standard tarot deck. And she sets that card down and says to herself, yes, he should be arriving very soon, and sits there patiently, waiting for the first person of many to come and join her in the aid that she had put out. We then turn, the camera pans and shifts away briefly, and it zooms in on top of our ever lovable druid and orc friend Krunk here. Krunk, over the last few days or weeks or months, however long it's been since the events of the beginner's box and the slow uprise of the kobolds, you received a letter from Rin here in town, and she's requested your aid as she has been seeing an interesting glow north of Otari and is looking for adventurers to help with this problem. She notes, and everyone also, you all get this same note, she mentions that she has reached out to the town's guards here, but no one really seems to see what she can see with her special visions and eyes here. And interested, you tell me, what do you think about this message and request of aid ever since your success previously? You seem to have gained a little favor with some of the people in town, and Rin especially has reached out to ask for aid.
Well, I will definitely go to Rin, because she has good food, and she pays that shiny thing that other people like so much.
Okay. So you begin heading over to Rin's establishment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you find your way through, through the town. You make your way past, more than likely, I would assume you were probably hanging out at the Stone Ring Pond or up through the trails into the back of the forest in the upper northwest, we'll say, of the map here. I'm going to activate that for all my players so that they can come on over to this section. Y'all let me know when you get here. Hopefully it won't take too long. Oh, I just moved some stuff around. Alright, while on, wait a minute. Let me turn a little bit of music down.
I just logged into UO online.
Yes, I think you did. When I pulled everyone in, the song "Memory of the Rose Guard" kicked in. This is going to be, I guess, Otari's like town music.
Very somber.
Yes.
I believe we've entered Magenta.
So, I would assume, being a druid, you were probably usually finding yourself over here at the Stone Ring Pond or in the forests to the northwest of Otari.
Yeah, I'd be up in the woods there.
Okay. You would then eventually make your way down to Pharasma's Walk, which is this long walkway against the ridge here. And you can see your destination of Rin's Wonders right here, the strange pillars that are up against the Osprey River. So you'll eventually make your way through Pharasma's Walk, come down around over the bridge, through and onto Miller's Road, come down through the side, and eventually hit, what is that, Ilvashti Street, and then up onto Osprey Street, and find yourself standing in front of Rin's establishment. You can clearly see her standing there, and she's looking at this one card that is set on the table in the middle of her establishment. And as you approach, she looks up. "Ah, Crunk, I've been expecting you. Thank you so much for joining me." And she gestures to one of the 4 stools that has been set on the other side of the table.
That's me,
left
my lady.
Thank you so much for responding to my missive for help and aid. I hope it wasn't too much trouble for you to join me here today.
Nope.
Okay. Do you have
I'll go
any... What's that again?
I'll go ahead and sit down.
All right. And she asks afterwards, once you sit down and make yourself comfortable, do you have any questions about why I've summoned you here?
You want ting done. Me can do ting. You pay me.
Of course. Payment will be part of the process in one form or another, for sure.
Okay, no questions.
All right, then. And she begins shuffling her tarot cards once again. And she draws and closes her eyes and waits until, it's very interesting watching her do her work here, Crunk. She pays no mind to the shuffle, but immediately when one card in particular seems to jut out from the pack, she stops immediately, puts the rest of the cards below, and then grabs that one card and flips it over. And as she flips the card over, opens her eyes and looks at this tarot card, she goes, curious. Another page is about to arrive, and she places the card down, and next to the page of wands would also then be the page of swords. And
Oh,
go ahead.
I'll kind of clap for her. Oh, that good. One pair, you get free turn.
Very good. Excellent to know. I see you are also very well versed in the art of tarot, then.
Oh yeah, me tear things all the time.
Very good. And as the two of them continue talking about the tarot cards, and Crunk not necessarily making the connection of what she's doing versus what he's saying, she, politely continues speaking with him. The camera pans back out, and we zoom in on a small, brass-colored kobold? Knocknad?
Yeah.
Some time ago, be it weeks or days, you received a message from this Rin. What was her name there? Rin Zavinzi. Rin Zavinzi had sent you a message and requested your aid at the town of Otari, and that she needed your help along with a few others to help with some issues that the town is unable to assist her with. You've traveled piqued with curiosity and interest, especially with your investigator background, was it?
Yeah, detective.
Detective background. This is more than likely something that has spurred your interest, and you've made the long trek to the not necessarily small but well-off town of Otari. And over some time, you may have come down through one of the two roads, either what is it here, the Granary Road or the Rose Guard Road, and eventually made your way into town, following a very similar path that Krunk before you, which you may not have seen, as Krunk and Rin have been speaking for some time now. Eventually,
Probably still smell
what's that?
them. You could probably still smell them.
Yeah, right. You find yourself into town. Not too necessarily familiar. You do have some instructions on how to get there. She suggests coming into the center of town, which, the first crossroads you would say was probably here, to take a right, and then her building would be more or less right off of the main road here. So, you follow the instructions by Rin, and eventually come to this, again, open-aired building of tents and canopies. And before you see Rin standing at a table with candles lit, and to help illuminate the dull and dreary day that's going on here in Otari, and a rather large orc sitting at the table along with her. And she's conversing with this orc, and then as you pull around the corner within range, she looks over, puts a polite hand up to Krunk for a moment, and says, another of our adventurers has arrived. And with that, she gestures with an open hand. Narknad, was it? Thank you so much for coming at my request and aid. Please, come into my business here and have a seat. And she gestures to one of the three open stools for you to sit at.
Great. I thank her for the invitation. I nod courteously to Krunk and take my seat.
Narknad, I appreciate you coming. Is there any questions you may have about why I have summoned you here to this reasonably decent village of Otari here, and what my request is putting you to?
Yeah. So what's in it for I've assumed us here and the other two empty seats?
Well, one could say riches, another could say glory and fame, another could say protecting the world. There are many reasons why you would want to come here and help in this problem that has slowly started to grow over the weeks here. What might be in it for you? What drove you here at my request of aid?
Well, now you say saving the world, that seems like a good priority.
Indeed it is. And as I've mentioned to Krunk here, there will be payment, of course, for coming and aiding me with this request. There are more than likely riches to be found, possibly, at this issue here. I can also aid you with my services. And she gestures to the tent above you that has been painted in, almost a star-like resemblance of what it might be if the day was much nicer and warmer. I'll speak more about that in a moment when our another adventurer shows up here momentarily. If you have any other questions, please speak your mind now as we get to know one another. Do you have any questions for her?
Might as well wait for the rest of the group to get here to go over all the important bits. But what services can you provide to us that might be beneficial?
Yes. About me. Okay. Let me pull up her character sheet here. Which one is it? Let's see here. Of course, I had her character sheet somewhere else, and now I can't find it again. Basically, right now, she is able to support you with some of her abilities, and one of those is called Read the Stars, and she'll get into that here in a moment. Yes, it's one of the services I offer for anyone who is brave enough or curious enough to, purchase such aid from me, is something I like to do. I look towards the stars, or I might read from my cards here to divine future, or see what events may be on the horizon from looking at the way the stars move and the planets adjust themselves. While you're working with me to uncover whatever secrets are going on with the Gauntlet north of us, and she points in the general direction, feel free to assist or call upon my aid anytime you seem to be confused or lost at the moment, and I can go through it. Although it does take quite some time to read the stars properly. One might say at least an hour or so of time. Of course, I can't find her character sheet. Thought I had everything I needed available here. Let me see real quick. Started toolbox. Character biographies. Nope, that's the one thing there. Anything else you would like to ask her?
How did she get the information about, how did she become aware of the issue?
Yes. See, being a half-tiefling and a half-elf, I have a very peculiar set of eyes, and as you look at her, you can see that, her eyes are almost white, completely white. There's no iris, there's no pupil. And as I've looked and peered forward over the horizon towards where the Gauntlet Keep is, I've noticed a very odd hue of blues and possibly even green starting to grow from the keep. I've made this aware to the politicians and the defenders of Otari, but none seem to see the same problem I am seeing, and this is why I've sent for aid and help. As I drew my cards and I peered towards the stars, I saw names and faces of people of who would best help me in my time of need to protect Otari and eventually the world as well. You two, plus the other two and she gestures to the empty seats here, are just those people that I have seen and protecting the area here for Otari and the rest of the world. Let's see here. That's not the one I wanted. Any other questions?
Nothing I can think of right now.
All right. Let's see. Getting started. Otari locations. Yeah, of course, I cannot get her character sheet. I don't know where it went to. It's somewhere in here. I'll have to find it again and make like a hot button for it. So, as you conclude with any of the other questions, she begins shuffling her tarot cards again. And before you, you can see, a young person in the one cards, and this person's holding a sword, and that's placed precariously in front of the stool that you sat in front of, Narknad. And again, there's another card with a young person holding a staff or a piece of wood, and that one is held in front of, or it's placed in front of where Krunk surprisingly sat down as well. The last two seats are open, and she begins flipping through her cards and closes her eyes once again. And as the cards are shuffled, it's almost otherworldly watching her go through her craft. And eventually, one card in particular starts to pop up and show itself amongst all the others. And she opens her eyes, takes the card, and then places it down towards one of the open seats again. And this time, we see again another young person on the card. It's very interesting that out of all the possible cards here that she could have pulled, once again, she's pulled another page. And this time, this one would be the page of, let me see here, let's see, swords, staves, and then pentacles.
Yeah, pentacles and cups is what you got left.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, this time she pulls a young person holding and almost gently carrying a giant coin in their hand. And as that card is placed down, the camera once again pans out from the three of you sitting underneath Rin's tent as the rain and storms go by and overpass. It suddenly fades to black, and the camera once again pans in, and we see somewhere walking along another set of roads here, another orc, a rather tall and brutish looking orc by the name of Grawler. Grawler, you've received a message as well, and as the other two have received it penned the same way, a request for aid. What brings you, Grawler, all the way to Otari? Why did you make the journey?
Grower has made his way here, by having someone interpret this message for him.
Yes.
And is merely following the directions out of mild curiosity and a very strong hint of sheer stupidity.
That's great. So much fun there. So, you as well make your way in from one of the other open roads through, could maybe coming from Absalom there, or somewhere else on this island that Otari is found on. And you come in through one of these others as well, and eventually make your way into the town. Maybe
are there any citizens around me?
Oh yes. As you walk through, there are other races here, primarily human, but there are occasionally other races too, as dwarves, elves, gnomes. Occasionally you might see more uncommon races. They aren't as frequent as the humans are. The humans do generally make up most of the people here, but beyond that, there is a general mixed atmosphere of different types of, or ancestries, I should say.
I would just like to randomly grab one of them.
Okay. So you go and grab an unsuspecting, citizen of Otari here, or someone that you think is probably a citizen of Otari, and they suddenly are shocked at being so aggressively and brutishly grabbed, and like, can I help you?
I would like to shove the missive into said person's face and, where at?
And a little bit of a start. Go ahead and give me a intimidation roll, just because they weren't expecting such a aggressive way to go about this. Oh, hold on. Let me see here. Saves and checks. Oh, yeah, you got it.
Oh.
So, with a bit of fear and, uncertainty, the person is shaking in your hands. They're basically a commoner, so even with an 8, they're gonna be pretty intimidated with your appearance. How tall does Grawler stand roughly?
Being slightly shorter than the average orc, he still stands at a massive 6'8".
Oh goodness. Okay.
And he is just a mass of muscle. Yeah. He's kind of like the combination between like one of those beach bodybuilders and world's strongest man physique.
Oh geez. Yeah. Okay. So, yes, this person is shaken pretty good there as they attempt to read, and they look over, and they try to get out the name of Rin's Zavinzi, but they just can't, and they end up pointing in the general direction of where you need to go, and then drop the missive and just kind of run away as soon as possible.
I'll pick the missive back up and begin trudging my way over to where he pointed.
Okay. So you probably don't even bother following the roads and kind of cut through the alleys, right?
Oh yeah, it's as much of a straight line as possible.
Okay. So as you make your way in through the alley between the two buildings here, Rin turns her head to the side, and because of how open the tents are here, she can clearly see and points in your general direction here, Grawler. The next adventurer has arrived. And as you move up to the tent, Grawler, is it? I'm glad to see that the message made it to your way, and I would hope that maybe you would take a seat and chat with us. And she points to an open seat where a small bronze-scaled kobold and another orc sit and wait.
I immediately hop up and start looking around as soon as she says crawler.
And with that, with your sudden jerk in motion and standing up, do you two know each other? Crunk?
Oh, my brother.
And I'll run up to Crunk, grab him by the shoulders, and in typical orc greeting, I will headbutt him.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Considering this is an orc, a thing custom that the orcs will do, I'm sure we don't need to do any kind of attack rolls. You just let this happen.
Oh, I as soon as he grabs my shoulders, I try to meet my forehead with his.
Perfect.
All right. Just getting both character tokens up on the screen here as brothers, long lost brothers, have met, finally reconnected after so many games and campaigns. As a side note for our viewers, anyone watching this or in live stream right now, these two characters, would you both like to explain it, or shall I?
I've been searching for tens of lives for this man.
Yes. If we take the multiverse as it is, for any game system, both of these brothers have never been in the same campaign until today. They've always been in one campaign or the other as the other literal brother, because both Grawler, the people playing Grawler and Crunk are brothers in real life. Usually one brother is playing the GM, and the other's playing a player. So most times, both these characters couldn't be brothers in the actual game. So, for the first time ever, Grawler and Crunk have been reunited.
Yep, and we get to crucify, Chris and Andy with the wonderful, with the wonderful task of dealing with us both.
Yes, attempting to wrangle in the orcs. Herding orcs as herding cats is going to be an interesting task. And with that, a loving orc embrace of headbutts has been had. Do you both stand and talk for a bit, or do you take your seats at the table as Rin politely waits?
We catch up later. Lady got job, give shiny thing.
Okay.
So as you both sit back in as Crunk goes to sit back in his seat, Grawler, you take a seat. Do you choose a seat, or do you just happen to pick one at random?
Well, I'll attempt to sit next to my brother.
Okay. Considering nothing was said of where people are sitting, sure, that is easily able to happen. And surprisingly enough, a card is across the table, but pointed in your general direction. Surprisingly, all of the cards have lined up. And she looks at the three of you and begins talking, especially to Grawler. Grawler, do you have any questions about why I've summoned you here?
Ah! Why here?
Ah, why here? The ever important question. And unfortunately, this might be a bit of a boring recap for my two other adventurers here, but to the north, at Gauntlet Keep, a light has been glowing over the past weeks, and this is not a good sign. This is only a
sun.
No, not the sun. A sort of lighthouse, it would be. Similar to the sun. Okay, I'm going to need to take this down a notch. To the north of us is a lighthouse, but not next to the ocean. That lighthouse has been glowing, which is a sign of ill omen or bad news. And I've attempted to, rally up the town to investigate, but they have not seen what I've been seeing. And, now that you've had a chance to look at her, Grawler, her eyes, this Rin, this half tiefling, half elf, has no pupils, has no irises. There's no color to her eyes. It's just completely white. But she looks at you dead directly in your eyes, into the depths of your soul.
I flatulate.
Oh. Well. At least you're comfortable. And she goes, yes, I requested your aid, Grawler, because I can see the strength in you. I can see the potential of where you will go. And with these two here, plus your fourth member, who has unfortunately not arrived yet, and she pauses on that for a moment. I think with you three plus your fourth member that will arrive soon, you'll be able to help put an end to the growing threat at the Gauntlet Keep. And she looks at you with a quizzical look on her face as if, to ask, do you have any other questions for her?
When growers smash.
Soon, Growler. Soon you will smash. But we need to get the fourth member of your party here. The issue with that is that, and she starts to get a bit of an exasperated look on her face, as if she's been looking over her cards repeatedly, and she puts up a gentle hand to say, give me a moment. And she begins to shuffle her cards once again. And with her eyes closed, she shuffles their tarot cards. And again, one card in particular pops up out of all the cards in her hand. And she takes this one card and flips it over. And she places it down towards the empty seat. And once again, it is another page. It is the last page, actually, the page of cups. But unfortunately, she looks up with a bit of sadness in her face. While you've all been making your way here, from the distant lands and homes you've left behind, I have been searching for this last person, this last page of cups here, and consulting with the stars and further consultation with my cards, I keep getting a message that this member's time has passed. And any visions that I have been given, I see a healthy and exuberant half-orc, similar to yourselves, gesturing towards Krunk and Grawler. But in my visions of this other person, this other orc of partial orc descent, I'm seeing Otari, but I'm seeing Otari from a long time ago, not in the flourishing state that it is now, not the thriving lumber town that it has become. And with much confusion, she begins flipping through her cards once again. And she closes her eyes. And as she does so, almost jumping out of the deck, a card comes flying out of her hands. And it flips over and it lands directly in the table almost in the middle of everyone here. And that card that you see is the death card. And she opens her eyes and looks at the death card and she gasps, once again, every time I try to get more information on this last person that we need to help with the Gauntlet Keep, the death card comes. And I don't understand why. The only thing I can think of is that this adventurer is possibly dead. Would you all possibly look into the graveyard here in Otari? It is unfortunately a bit of a trek, but I think our answers will be found up in the graveyard here. And she leaves that open to the three of you. Anyone have any ideas? What would you like to do or say?
Yeah, me go check dead place.
You heard the man.
We look for dead half orc, right?
That seems to be the directions I've been getting, and pardon me, sorry. Yes, I think from all of these visions, which have never confounded me until this day, this is probably the direction you need to go. Please, investigate the Otari graveyard, and let me know if you find a headstone of any potential half-orcs that may have passed, that were part of this town, or were here when they had passed away.
Okay. Brother, we look for dead stone orc head. Wait. Yeah, we go.
Okay.
Yes. Narknad, you have been tasked with checking out the graveyard. Are you joining these two orcs that you have only just met?
Yeah, if they're the muscle, it seems to solve some of the inadequacies my character may have over size. Yeah, I'm game.
Okay. And as you all stand up to go out on your first task from Rin, Zavinzi here, she goes, "It is a bit of a journey along Pharasma's Walk. Crunk, I'm sure you know the way. This might be a good time to get to know each other because, the fates are reliant on you all, so maybe now is the time to really get to know who each of you are for a moment, so that we can trust each other."
But me know them.
No, actually, these, as for Narknad and Grawler, you know Grawler, more or less. You don't know
Yeah.
Narknad. Narknad is completely new to Otari.
No, we save him. He worked for you, right?
Oh, I see what you're getting at. Yes, so, as for Narknad, he is he's confusing you with another kobold, apparently, that he knows.
We're not all the same person just because we look the same.
Oh no. So is there on the walk from Rin's, Rin's wonders here, is there anything you all talk about in this dreary, rainy walk up to the graveyard?
Man, that is kind of a roundabout walk, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Does it have stairs?
no. Sadly, the only way is to go back over the bridge you came in and around, up and along. This is going to be like a couple hours walk. That's why I was suggesting you guys might use this time to talk about your backstories or why you're here or potentially what you're hoping to accomplish.
All right. So Narknad is from Absalom, which is the nearby bustling city town, port city. He's a private eye detective that, as doing all of his detective work, his latent psychic abilities came out, and he's used those to further his detecting ability. So he's here to get a bit of money where there's a bit of research and investigative side of this job. So that's why he's here.
Cool. So what about Grawler? What's some backstory about him?
Grower's life is one of violence. Lots and lots of violence. Unfortunately, that also includes the members of his clan, to which he was promptly kicked out of.
Oh, so the missive showing up was a good timing message to get him out of the clan, then, huh?
Well, it was more of he was banished for acts of violence against the chieftain.
Oh, jeez. All right, and Krunk, what have you been taking care of while in your downtime between the events of the beginner's box and the Kobold uprising to now? What do you think you've been doing in this time?
I have been out in the woods, getting acquainted with my new baseball bat and practicing.
Ah, yes. The slightly adjusted baseball bat that the somewhat racist owner of the Glades of Glades had been duped into making.
Yeah. Killing with the animals when they let me.
Okay. So, you all begin to talk about your stories here of what's going on, and it takes you a good couple hours to walk up to the graveyard here. And as you begin to reach the graveyard, the area starts to get darker. It's very strange. The closer you get to the graveyard, the darker the clouds get, and it's as if your vision itself is getting a little darker. What would you like to do as you get to the gates of the Otari graveyard?
I will start looking around for stone orchids.
Okay, so you enter into the graveyard to start looking?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right,
Yeah.
the rest of you? Okay, everyone.
Yeah, let the big guy go first.
Okay. So we'll throw Garler and Krunk in, followed by Narknad. So the three of you enter in to the graveyard, and as you do, you're suddenly all hit with a vision. And as you're hit with this vision, you begin to see Otari, more or less from where you're standing and can see over the cliff here, and you can see Otari in a much younger state. You're not quite sure how many years have passed or you've been thrown into this vision, but you eventually see a half-orc. And this half-orc is doing something here at Otari. Xylo, how did your character meet his end and was buried here?
I see, that's the fun. You really can't remember all that now.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, he was cursed. He was probably killed by the curse, but he can't quite recall.
So then, possibly in this vision, the version of Xylo that was alive may have just keeled over suddenly and died? Or was
Perhaps.
that... Okay.
Like, it's lost.
Okay, so the vision here is staticky. It's hard to tell as the three of you walk through what you're seeing, but you get a quick vision of a half-orc, and then something happens and the vision distorts almost as if it was an old CRT television or CRT, and it just goes to static briefly, and the next thing you know, this orc is dead in the streets of Otari. And there's, again, the vision shifts and goes static, and then suddenly there's people gasping around and wondering what happened, and then shifts again, and then there's law enforcement, and people are quarantined from the area, and eventually your body for Xylo has been brought up to the graveyard, but with no discernible family potentially. Do you think Xylo in his former life, while he was alive, was a member of Otari, or did he come from somewhere else to work at Otari?
He would have been an adventurer, a traveling bard.
Okay. So, with no family around, he's been laid to rest and interned in the graves here in up in Otari here. And with that, you can see, a very lonely and sad sight of just a grave digger digging a hole, and then the law enforcement interning his body with virtually no one there, maybe the mayor and one or two other people, but it's a very sparse showing of people in support of whoever this person was that had unfortunately died in the streets and city of Otari. And then that's it. The vision goes to static, and then the grave is there, it's been covered, it's fresh dirt, and then suddenly the vision speeds up, and it gets faster and faster and faster, and eventually you start to see grass growing over the interred, the once fresh grave, and then you see days and nights pass, you see seasons pass and come and go, and then the next thing you know, it's just years and years and years pass, and then eventually your vision ends, and it directs you towards a lonely grave in the back of the graveyard here. And from your vision, this is where you can see, you are fairly certain of where this half-orc was laid to rest.
Coming out of it, I'll shake my head, and I'll kind of hit myself in the forehead a few times with the palm of my hand. Brother, eat bad frog.
So, with the vision over, what did the three of you do?
Really bad from me having visions.
Yes, Krunk definitely knows this as a vision, being a druid and communing with nature from time to time. This is nothing you're unfamiliar with, but it definitely came at you in a much different way.
I guess me trying to find gravestone vision.
Okay. You guys should be able to control your tokens. So, Ninzard said, "Thou must heed the dute of destiny." Nice. Thank you, Ninzard. That's excellent.
Nice.
So as you all begin to move towards the end of the graveyard here, to where you basically were shown in the vision, you get closer, and as you get to this grave, you notice that in the back here, it's not as well kept as it is towards the entryway into the graveyard. It's not terrible, but this is kind of the forgotten spot where a lot of the graves were from hundreds of years ago. And with that, as you get closer, a sudden and unexpected lightning bolt strikes right on the grave you saw in the vision. And with that, it's not close enough that you would require any kind of save, but it is shocking and startling. Grawler, you probably would have felt this in some kind of like a danger sense of, the skin starting to crawl and goosebumps rolling up your skin as the lightning was just about to strike. Krunk, you probably heard whispers in the form of wind from nature that, this lightning was about to hit. Narknad, you probably would have realized through your line of detective work that something strange was about to happen as this lightning bolt struck here. Now that this lightning has hit this grave, do you do anything?
I'll look up at the sky, raising a fist. Ah, missed.
So we actually see the actual grave or the casket.
You don't see the casket, but where the lightning had hit, all the plant life in that particular spot has been turned and singed to ash. It's just completely blackened from this sudden strike of electricity hitting this part of the graveyard. So it's still a grave, and whatever kind of gravestone or marker might have been there has long since toppled over. What do you the three of you do?
Can I do a detect magic?
Sure, yeah. Go ahead and give me a. Actually, yeah, you just have the spell, right? Is it like a cantrip or an ability? What do you
Yeah,
got?
it's cantrip. Pew!
Okay. Xylo, would your character have any kind of magical equipment with them?
Let me see. Like, he was a bard, but they don't really require any magical items at base.
Okay. At first, Narknad, you don't see any kind of magic, but as you sit there and watch with your magic eyes for your detect magic here, you're starting to see a glow of magic emanating from. It's odd. It looks like it should be in front of you, like from where you're standing to where the gravesite is. It looks like it's in front of the grave. It's just the way the emanation is coming. It's a very strange way. Like, you're looking at the grave, but you're seeing an emanation in front of the grave itself, between some distance between where you're standing and where the grave is. You're seeing it in front of you, kind of. It's bizarre the way it's not necessarily working with the angles. Thank you.
You mean
Kaiser.
like in the air?
No, not in the air. It looks like it's in the. It could
in
potentially
the
be in the ground or on the ground in front.
I mean, wouldn't the curse technically be magical in nature, or would it be divine? Or whatever else?
It probably would be divine, or how that the divine section would work there for the curse.
Yes, I can start using my upgraded mage hand to move things. So it does a full bulk, I think, instead of the light bulk of previous hands.
Front loader mage hand.
Yeah.
Anybody got any digging implements? Because I sure don't.
Got magic hands.
I just start like
Great axe.
hooping with my hands. Like, I'll pick up a little piece of bone and look at Krunk. Have bone to pick. And just keep digging.
All right, so between the three of you and Narknad's slightly better magic hand, because he is a psychic, you begin digging at the grave. And as we watch these three dig away, the camera pans away for a moment, and it shifts to darkness. And suddenly, you can hear something moving. Xylo, you're suddenly awake. It's not necessarily awake, but you're certainly somewhere. maybe you're laying on your back, or maybe you're standing. It's been so long since you've last felt anything or been anywhere. It's strange. What do you think right now as you are suddenly pushed back into existence? With a sudden rush of energy.
Probably finishing his last thought, you know, before he passed away.
And what might have that last thought been?
I hope I don't fall down these stairs.
And as you finish that thought, let me get here real quick. As you finish that thought, wherever you are, it's very confining. It's very hard to move. You know, you move your arm and it can only go maybe a few inches to your right or a few inches above you. It's really hard to say. Whatever stuff that you had with you in life, it seems to have been buried with you. It seems to be with you in where your legs are. But as you're laying here kind of pondering what happened, where are you, what's going on, you begin to hear noises above you, as if something's being moved, something's being shifted. What do you attempt to do? Anything?
I'm going to start banging towards the sound of where I hear the stuff shifting. And I'm yelling, I don't owe you money, do I? We can work this out.
And as Xylo bangs on whatever is containing him, the camera shifts once more, and we are back outside. The camera's positioned just over top of the three as they are, desperately digging into this grave for some reason that they've been directed to do so. And you hear a muffled noise as the three of you begin digging, or have continued digging, excuse me. You hear a muffled voice coming from below the earth. What do you three do? While you guys ponder that, Narknad, I put the Detect Magic Exploration activity into the Exploration tab for you.
Thank you.
So, does it sound like a voice that's covered?
Well,
Or does it just sound like a sound?
it definitely doesn't sound as if anyone's gagged or hard to speak. You hear a voice, and it's partially audible, but with the remaining dirt still over top of the coffin, it's hard to make out what or who is saying in there.
Well, I'll press my face against the dirt where I can hear the sound. You underground!
And the camera pans back as a very curious and confused orc barbarian presses his face into the dirt and screams. Xylo, you hear someone calling if you are in brown. It's really in a mound. It's hard to hear. It's so hard to understand what might be going on here. What do you do?
Not a lot of options, honestly.
Okay. When you hear a voice calling to you, do you say anything back?
I've already called out, I mean...
It seems like you got
Wait,
your
I don't know
response.
you, do I? I guess I'll shout that back.
And you hear, Grawler, someone say, do I know you? I don't know you. Hello?
Oh.
Me brother is Ben intro voice.
So do you continue digging? You hear an audible voice. Someone seems to have been buried alive.
Yeah, I'll keep scooping away.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
keep on a scooping.
All right. Now that you've heard someone, I'm guessing maybe a little more frantic about it, maybe a little more rushed, potentially.
Sure.
Okay. And with that, you guys quickly dig and get eventually down to this coffin. And as you get to the coffin, it is, it's old. By the time you finally get to it, you can see that it is waterlogged. It is rotten. It is completely starting to deteriorate. Parts of this coffin here actually have holes in them. And as they're digging, Xylo, you start to feel dirt dropping on you, and you start to see light shining through some of the cracks of this container you're in. And eventually, you realize you're probably in a coffin. You may have died.
Well, these things happen.
Xylobone's bogus journey.
So between the three of you, you eventually uncover the whole coffin, and
Oh, me know how to do this. Me done this once, and I will reach down and knock on the coffin.
so you hear Krunk say that, and then knocks on the coffin. Xylo, what do you do?
Who's there?
Oh, see it work. Come out.
Xylo.
And I try to push on the coffin with Krunk still on top, I imagine.
Yeah, are you standing on the coffin, or were you off to the side?
No, I just kind of reached down as far as I could. Sort of like laying my stomach outside the hole, if it's possible. No.
Okay.
How deeply was he buried? How about that?
Well, probably traditional, as we know, like 6 feet down, and it might
Okay.
have sunk a little further. So it could be, over time, with how old this coffin is, and how deteriorated it is, it might have shifted a little bit as well.
Got
Okay,
buried
so-
under new growth.
Then yes, in that case, I would probably be standing on it, and that brings up the question: can it hold my weight?
Probably not, but depending on where you're standing, if you're standing more towards the feet, it would give way, but you wouldn't really fall or have any kind of issue because there's something supporting it. There's something kind of holding up just the rotten wood.
Mm.
But Xylo, you attempt to open up this coffin, right?
Yes.
So, you begin to push through and try to open the coffin, and planks of this coffin just break away and give way to the little bit of strength that you're using to open this up. And as the planks break away, Krunk, Grawler, and Narknad, you see a skeletal hand push up through the coffin, and eventually you see the face of a skeleton poke its head through. What do you three do?
Yeah. I will quickly climb out of the hole. Yep, this just like last time.
Just like last time.
And
Oh,
then I'll
no.
take out
And you do what?
Oh god, that's right. He's not wrong.
and then I'll take out my club.
I forgot about the coffins under Otari
Oh, jeez, yeah, yep, that's right.
with the skeleton warriors.
So Krunk backs up a little bit and suddenly draws his bat, his newly formed metal bat. What do the rest of you do as this skeleton pushes his way up and out of the coffin?
I'm gonna try to
Well-
position myself a little more against the wall here.
Seeing Krunk take out his bat, I will gleefully draw my axe and prepare for violence.
Prepare for violence.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to need you to roll initiative, please.
Not entirely sure if you're serious or not.
Oh, I'm serious.
Oh, yeah.
Can we just ask this Skelly Man what he's up to? Okay.
Well, that's why we're rolling initiative here. Let's see here. We got Xylo Bones with a 16. I'll update that.
Oh, thank the fucking gods. I'm sorry, but
Yeah, Growler with a 7. Yeah.
like I don't care about everything else. I mean, I have a chance of reasonably surviving.
Crunk with a 22.
No.
Okay. So, we begin the encounter. Crunk, you're up to go. Narknad on deck. Xylo on deck. Crunk, what do? You see a skeleton clawing its way out of this grave. Flashbacks of weeks or months ago come riddling into your brain.
I'll kind of point my metal Nerf bat at him. But I did hear him speak, so that's one thing.
Yes.
You good dead thing or bad dead thing?
So that's your action to ask one or the way or the other about Xylo?
And I will prepare to jump in front of Growler. Because I know how quick he is to swing.
All right, so you call out and ask Xylo this, and you're setting up a reaction, basically.
Yeah. If I see Growler swing before this guy gets a chance to answer, I'd like to try and stop the swing.
All right, so two actions.
This left, that will be.
Two actions will be to ready. Anything for your third action? Probably just calling out to Xylo and conversing with him.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is Crunk's turn. Narknad, what do?
I'm going to use my mage hand again, but I'm going to amp it, and that will just hold him in place. I'll show that in chat there, but I'm doing an amp of that.
Okay. So, how many actions does that cost you to amp up your mage hand?
I want to say it costs an action to do an amp. So that would be 3 actions, 2 for the cantrip, 1 for the amp.
Okay. All right. So you go to use the hand to hold him in place, to hold Xylo down?
Yeah, I'm not trying to shove him, but he'll take the athletics check if he wants to move.
Okay. So that'll be Narknad's turn. Xylo, you're up. What do? You hear Crunk call out to you, good or bad skeleton?
Well, I'm gonna answer. Last I checked, I wasn't a skeleton, so this is new to me. And then I'm gonna try to back away.
Okay, so we need to do some kind of an athletics check. What is your DC there, Narknad?
It's just a -10 circumstance penalty to its move.
Okay,
I
the
think.
creature takes a -10 foot circumstance penalty to its speed until the spell ends. Starting the round after you cast the spell the first time. Each round you sustain the spell, you can attempt to shove the creature. Okay, so you
don't
just
say anything about stopping me.
you
Nope,
just
just
lose,
slows him down.
Yeah, you just lose 10 feet. So you're gonna back up a little bit.
Yep.
Okay. So you back up however far. Go ahead. All
50
right.
feet.
Yeah. The scale's a little bigger here on the map.
I'm just gonna do the 50 feet then.
That's fine. And do you go and do anything like a defensive gesture or anything?
I have no weapons in my hands, and I'm backing away after answering a question, so I'm pretty sure that's non-threatening.
Okay.
We
They're not
clearly have.
cops. I should survive.
You clearly have a trumpet pointed at us.
The old doot doot. All right, that's
That's
Xylo's turn. Growler, you're up. What do you do?
I will turn my head to the side, look at my brother. Me smash. I'll wait for the answer.
Okay. Growler is
Meanwhile-
confused and holding ready with his battle axe. We go to the top of
Meanwhile-
round 2.
I'm calculating the XP I'm going to get for dealing with these three.
Right? All right, Crunk, top of round 2. What do you do?
Okay, we talk then. But if me no like, we kill you. Again?
This is true. Yes, again. All right. So Crunk says, okay. We no kill. Moving on to Narknad. What are you doing? It's your turn.
I'm okay with the no kill. I guess I'll stop concentrating on my spell and let it lapse.
Okay. Xylo, you suddenly feel a release of a mage hand off of you, and Growler, the big orc with the battle axe, seems a little confused and hasn't charged you just yet. And Crunk says, "Okay, let's talk. What do you do?"
Now's my chance to strike. All right, I cast Phantom Pain on Growl. No, I'm kidding.
Oh
I'm not-
shit! Deceived them all along.
No, I am good. I
Quick
will not.
adventure, that was good, guys. While he mops up the experience, I'm gonna take it a chance to run away.
All right. So Xylo, that's your turn. Growler, what do you do?
I will dejectedly harness my great axe and just hunker down on my heels.
Okay. And we will end combat. As everyone has gone from a threatening posture to more of a, let's try and talk this one out. All right. So, with that, the three of you, or the four of you, have time to talk about what's going on here. What do you say to each other?
How come you could talk, skeleton? Skelly man?
Not quite sure myself. See, they didn't give you a guidebook to the afterlife.
Oh,
I-
so. Oh,
I mean-
no. Narknad's smart. Him speak.
No, I was gonna say, don't they? If we go on the rules of Beetlejuice,
Yeah, I was gonna say beetle bones.
Beetlebones. All right, go ahead.
So no eye lady sent us find you and bring back. Got job, save world, shiny thing.
Save the Earth after being buried in it? Ah! Really, what I want to do is I want to find out what that musical instrument I was hearing was.
Oh, sorry.
The old doot doot.
Close. Not a trumpet. Well, I guess we'll go see her then.
Okay. We bring you there.
Hang on. Like this? And I'll rifle through my pack and pull out a mask and put it on, and also wear a hat. So that way I can hide my appearance.
If you want, we can wait for you to pick up rest of self.
Well, I'm pretty sure I had all my skin with me last I checked. But we
Yeah,
have to go as it is.
Yes, and as you are all talking there, Xylo goes back into the grave and starts collecting some of the stuff he was buried with. He's adventuring. There's some adventuring gear, backpack. He does pull out some rather deteriorated clothes that seem to be passable, and a mask that he is able to put over his face to cover the fact that he is a skeleton.
It's no skilly fun to get found out like this.
Not at all.
Hands in the pockets, walking through town like, trying to avoid attention.
And with that, do the four of you then return to Rin?
Yes.
I would go with them.
All right. So, over the next couple hours of the trip, you walk from the graveyard back along Pharasma's Walk, and eventually get to the entryway of Otari here in this cliff, in the cutout section of this cliff here. By the time you reach, the edge well over here, it's gotten dark, which is super helpful because you have a skeleton with you. Get you guys moving over there. And then we'll get you over here. Do you do anything in particular to prepare yourselves as you walk into into Otari with a skeleton, and an undead skeleton at that?
Yeah, what's the plan if he gets found out? Do we just pretend like we don't know him? What's the protocol here?
Listen, I was a bard, alright? So I'm pretty good at acting, so you don't need to worry.
Okay.
Grawler shrugs and just keeps walking.
We shall see.
Yes, we shall. And if anything happens, you don't know me. I conned you.
Why der problem? Me see no problem. So, you skeleton. Dem let Grawler in.
Well, not so many people are open-minded, I imagine. They weren't when I was alive.
Yeah, Grawler good at making open-minded.
Ah! Axe.
Oh no.
Split decision.
We're just parting hairs here.
So yeah, I'm gonna make sure that actually, I'm gonna take out a disguise kit. I'm not just gonna rely on the mask and hat,
Okay.
and I'm gonna craft a disguise for. Again, the disguise kit is old, so some of the makeup's kind of caked. The outfits are a little worn.
Okay.
Me have claws if you need.
Do I need to make a deception check for that, or is that just?
Please do. I've thrown one into the chat.
Thank you.
Ooh, nice. That's a good success right there with a 19. Excellent.
Just hoping for a 20. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
I
Yeah,
don't-
with that, Xylo whips out, a rather busted and old disguise disguise kit, and throws together with his mask and a hood and whatnot. Basically, what you see in the on his character token is more or less, how he's looking. Let me pull up the token art here for a better look here, so everyone else can see him as well.
But show him the one with the disguise kit on with the trumpet.
The funny part is I can't really pull that one up as easy. You just have to zoom in on the screen for that, because I only use the trumpet one for your on the map character there. So, with that, you're very confident, and the three of you looking at Xylo, he could very well pass for not a skeleton. I mean, the three of you looking at him, you're like, yeah, this looks like a regular dude. And you begin to walk into town?
Yes.
Okay. As the sun is setting over the horizon, it makes it so much easier for Xylo to pass without any kind of issue. The darkness really aids into getting him without any kind of issues with civilians or any kind of town guards and what have you. And the four of you make your way back to Rin, and she's milling about her tent, doing things. But as you are returning, she picks up on the fact that you're there really quick and looks over in your direction. She says, "Ah, perfect. You've all returned, and I see you've found the last member of the people I've seen in my visions to help with the gauntlet problem. I hope there wasn't any issues."
Nope, we find Bonehead Orc. Wait.
Oh,
thought it was
no
wrong.
shoes.
Well, at least you found him. That's fantastic. Xylo, is it?
Xylo Bones, if you please, madame.
Excuse me, pardon my, pardon me not knowing your last name. I just knew and intuited your first name. Xylo Bones, curious last name. I've never heard of anyone with the last name Bones. Is a interesting family name? Story to that?
No, it's just, I can't remember my last name either, so a pun will settle.
Ah, pun. Interesting. Okay, I don't quite get it, but I'm sure it works. All right. And she just, with a bit of a confused look, she asks and gestures to all of you to sit back down at the table, and sits at her original seat as well. And you all take a seat.
Yes.
I'll hunker down.
Okay. It's funny, you all probably choose different seats than you chose from last time, but when you sit down, all of the cards, the pages from the tarot cards, have been reassigned to the new positions that you would be sitting at. So she sits down and she looks at you all.
I'll clap. Haha! That good trick.
Wow, this is different from the last time I was here. The town, I mean.
Oh, have you been gone long, Xylo?
I don't know how long, but yes.
Maybe at some point we can catch up and tell me what the town looked like before I was around here. Whatever you remember, it'd be interesting to know. In any event, I'd gather you all here to help with the Gauntlet keep that is north of Otari here, getting into the business. It is a concern of mine. I've been able to see the glow coming from the tower, more so during the night, but occasionally during the day too, on days like this where the sunlight isn't as bright and the tower is easier to see in the horizon. The Gauntlet Keep itself is about a 30-minute walk or so north of town, so it's not going to be terrible to get back and forth if you need to come back to town, but I beg and plead with you all. Please investigate why the Gauntlet is glowing its blue light. Find out what's going on, and help us protect Otari and possibly the world from whatever mysteries are growing in this tower. And she kind of just sits back a moment to catch any kind of responses you have to her plead for aid.
I'll raise my hand.
Yes, Crunk.
That gauntlet thing magic?
Yes, there is some magic to the Gauntlet itself. It has been protected from deteriorating and falling apart over the ages. The keep itself, around the Gauntlet itself, has fallen to ruin in spots. It is a little dangerous there. There are creatures that will more than likely try to stop whatever you do to investigate this area, but for the most part, the tower and the lighthouse itself is magical in nature. Yes. And she again gestures for you all to look towards the north, and you can see that she has opened up one of her tent flaps in that direction. And why don't you all roll a perception check for me here? I'll pop it into the chat.
Well, it magic. That's why it glow blue. You stop cast spell, glow go away.
I wish it were that simple, Crunk. Got Crunk, Narknad, and Xylo. Oh, Crawler with a critical success. Wow. 24, damn.
Me
What?
see all.
Yes, and with the direction, the three of you, except for Grawler, can see on the horizon over the edge a slight blue hue that is starting to be more prominent as the night comes on. Grawler, for you, and some reason, the glow is very prominent. You can make out quite a huge, like, arc of blue light on the horizon towards the north. It's
That's
quite
because Growler has murder vision.
murder vision activated.
Disney.
I thought that was a red glow.
Right.
It's not like a blue background behind the castle.
For what?
The Disney logo.
Oh, yeah. It's blue from what I remember. They might have changed it for other things occasionally.
The beacons are lit. The enemies call for murder. And Growler will answer.
So, Rin gets your attention again as she pans, gestures to you all again. So, will you aid me in protecting Otari and the rest of the world? Will you investigate the Gauntlet Keep and to understand and see why the glow has shined? Because nothing good will come from that lighthouse glowing its blue glow.
So, just so me get this right, you want us to go and break light?
Well, if you have to, but I would recommend not breaking the light. Find out whatever is causing the blue light to glow, and stopping whatever evil machinations are growing there.
Got it.
So, you all
So,
accept...
Crunk, we're just making light, not blue. That's all.
Hey, kill light.
No, we're not killing the light. We're changing the color.
And Rin looks at Narknad. What do you think, Narknad?
I think we need to do a little preparation before we go on this little escapade.
Excellent. I was hoping you might say that. Again, Xylo, you weren't here for my original offerings, but there will be payment, and there I can offer you my services while you are assisting me in investigating this Gauntlet Keep. I can look towards the stars in case you ever have any issues or lose your way. And yes, with that, I recommend that maybe you all catch a good night's rest up as the night is coming closing in on us, and maybe adventure out in the morning. For as when you head out, it'll take, and she looks over towards the Gauntlet Keep, about a good week to get there. We'll see you all next week, folks, as the Ever Sidequesters adventure on to Gauntlet Keep now that they have their party! Thanks to everyone in chat that joined us for the, herding the cats, or in this case, herding the orcs. I'd like to say a thank you to Candyholic, Kaiser, Ninzard. Who else have we got in here? Dad of War _76, Trade 11. I saw you earlier. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. And I think that's everyone who was in chat tonight. Thank you so much. It was so great getting this started. I had a lot of fun with this one. At least creating this unique way of getting everyone together. And we will see you all next week for the continued adventures of the Ever Sidequesters as they venture out into the Gauntlet Keep. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Later.
Later.
Good night.
Bye-bye.